let's get to the power hitting second baseman on the St. Louis Cardinals right now, making his FT debut. Nolan Gorman joining us right now. Nolan, happy offseason, man. How you doing?
Good, guys. How are you guys?
Good. Did you just get a workout in?
Oh, well. Yeah. I just finished just in time.
Nice.
All right. Are you in Jupiter or are you in Arizona?
I'm in Arizona right now.
Well, when are you headed down to God's country?
I'll leave here in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday. So February 12th, I'll go down there and get there a week early and get the layout again.
There you go.
But have you seen the new, because they ripped up Roger Dean, right? So you guys are like in trailers this year, aren't you? Or some crazy, it's going to be crazy for you guys because you don't have your clubhouse. Is that right?
They're renovating?
No, they like redid the whole thing. They destroyed the stadium.
No, they were going to, and then they knocked a few walls down and it went back to pretty much normal. I think they had to put some walls back up, but yeah, they stopped the renovation, so should be normal this year.
Oh, there you go.
What do you mean stop? It's like the A's. I didn't know the A's were in Jupiter now. They were going, and then they're like, wait, no, we're stopping that.
Well, we're going to go. I mean, maybe they're going to push it back. I don't know.
Because they were supposed to redo the whole thing, and the Cardinals and the Marlins were supposed to be like in trailers for one spring. I thought it was this spring.
Where did you hear this?
No, that's true.
No. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, he's right. It was supposed to happen. We were supposed to be in like tents for the clubhouse and stuff, but they, like I said, they just stopped it.
All right, so then normal spring training for you. Who are you most excited to spend some time with that is a new St. Louis Cardinal? Because you guys have added, I mean, obviously the three big pitchers towards the beginning of the season and a few guys since then.
Yeah, I mean, all those signs I think are good for us in terms of some veterans that have been there and obviously gone to the World Series and whatnot. But I'm excited to get back with Carp. Had good conversations with him when I was coming up in the minor leagues when he was still with us. And so, yeah, I'm excited to have him back and just, be able to pick his brain some more.
Nolan, what kind of expectations are you going into this year? Now that you've kind of had a season and a little bit under your belt now, you kind of know the lay of the land around there a little bit. You know what to expect from the big leagues here and there. What kind of expectations are you going into this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing crazy. I just, the biggest thing for me is going out there and being consistent. Consistency and playing, 162 games for me is the most important thing. Staying healthy, keep my body right. And I feel if I'm consistent, I can stay out on that field, then good things will happen.
So when we talked to Carp, did you just talk about offense? Because he wasn't a very good defender and he's slow as hell. So you weren't talking base running and you weren't talking defense. So what was he talking to you about hitting wise?
No, honestly, there was a little bit of offensive stuff, but it was more just kind of how to play the game. I guess how they've done it for the last few years. I think in 21, he came up to me early one morning in spring and just talked about, what a possible role would be, for a guy coming up, maybe not playing every day and just getting that experience, but not being an everyday guy yet. Because I think he was kind of in that same boat right before he left us. So, yeah, it was more so like, just make sure you're ready at all times. The time is coming soon, and it's pretty much just trying to be ready for any possible situation that comes.
Did Carp come up to you and say, listen, I'm going to be here for my entire career, Nolan, so just do as I say, don't do what I do here, because you're never going to get my job. So you're going to have to be a utility guy because I'm Matt Carpenter, and I went to TCU, and I'm Mr. Cardinal?
No, he's a little better dude than that, but
all right, so I played with Carp, so I know Carp. He is one of my all-time favorite guys to give shit to because he just can't take it very well. So like if when you see him, just be like, man, Carp, your beard is like super gray, and he'll be like, what? And you'll see him 5 minutes later. He'll have the Just for Men out, making sure that it's not gray.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I didn't get a lot of time with him, but the little time that I did, he was a pretty good mentor for me.
Now, Nolan, when you kind of moved across the diamond a little bit from third to second base, and I know did you have a little back issue in 2020, little weightlifting thing? Did you find yourself when you made the position change that you kind of had to switch? There's a little bit more movement at second base than there is for third. You kind of have to do a little bit more sprint work, a little bit more calisthenics, kind of stretch out that body and be a little quicker. Talk us through that.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, so honestly, at third base, it's a slow position. You're not chasing balls down that much. You're kind of more of a hockey goalie. So over there, it was a little easier to be slower and not get good jumps off the ball and still be able to get to it. But at second base last year, this was before spring training. Our new bench coach, Joe McEwing, for last year was talking to me, hitting me ground balls, and he had me go out to shortstop. And he was like, all right, just go take regular ground balls at shortstop, throw the ball over to first. And I moved way better than I was at second base. And he just said, now go play second base the way you just did that at shortstop, as far as like getting off the ball quicker and moving my feet, right as soon as the ball is hit, instead of, kind of just staying flat footed, letting the ball come to me. It was still attacking the ball. I think that was the biggest thing that helped me between 22 and 23 was just getting off the ball and a little bit quicker and making those adjustments that I was able to later, reading hops and whatnot.
Have you spoken, because Joe's not there anymore, have you spoken to your new bench coach yet, Daniel Descalso? Has he brought any words of wisdom?
Yeah, he came in actually to the place that I'm working out at a couple weeks ago, but we talked a little bit, got to know each other a little bit, but that was about it.
Do you know him from the past, or was that your first time meeting him?
No, first interactions with him, but seemed like an awesome dude. I've talked to some other people that I've obviously played with them or coached them, and they've had nothing but great things to say about him.
I'll swing it over to another. Was he your former teammate or no?
Oh, yes, he was.
Yeah, so another former teammate specialist.
Dude, I got the Cardinal handbook, dude.
What's the scouting report?
I mean,
he
was on the show. You saw his scouting
understand,
report.
but Nolan might not have caught the
he's great. He's a little short. He gets really mad if you make short jokes in front of him. But he's actually a really great dude. No, he'll work hard. He loves the Cardinals. I know. Listen, he's going to help you guys. I played for Joe, and when Joe was a coach too, he was great. But Descalso is fired up. He can't wait to get there, and he just wants to get back to the Cardinal way.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Do you have the handbook? Do you have the Cardinal way handbook? Did they ever give that to you?
No, I've heard you ask this question before, but I don't believe I still have that. I remember watching.
You did get one.
I believe they passed out something.
Laminated
pamphlet. No, but when you're a first round pick, they give you a leaflet, and you're like, just go play, kid. You're going to be good. Okay, we're fine.
Yeah.
Hey, Nolan, I don't know if you remember, but I think, the first time I spoke to you and interviewed you was Arizona Fall League, which was it 2021? Were you there?
Yep.
Was that the year?
Yep.
Okay. So then in 2022, you start out the season in the minor leagues. You hit 15 home runs in 34 games. You basically hit a home run every other freaking game. And they were like, Uncle, okay, we got it. And they called you up in mid-May. When you were going through that tear, were you like looking around going, when is it? When is the time? I mean, that is a statement if there ever is one. And if I'm a team front office wise and knowing that you're at the upper levels of the minors, I'm like, damn, we got to get some of these homers into the bigs.
Yeah, there was obviously a little bit of, when's it going to be my turn? But at the same time, I was still playing baseball down there and having to focus on that and not, turn into a mess and maybe get myself into a slump thinking about all that stuff. But I think at a certain point, I think when I kept hitting him, it was like, all right, I think I'm ready. But then, you get up there and it's like, it's a different game. It really is in the big leagues. You learn a lot, and I think I've learned more in these past 2 years than I think I have my whole life in the game of baseball. So it's definitely a learning curve for sure.
when you got up after that, were you like, oh crap, I hope I didn't just like waste my streak on the minors? Obviously you needed to do that to, send the message to get up. But once you got to the big leagues, were you like, oh shit, I hope this stays, in check? And like you mentioned, obviously it's a different game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I wanted it to continue. And it really didn't. I think I was doing good, a little bit in the beginning, and then they pick at you, and they find out where your weaknesses are, and they won't stop exploiting them until you make an adjustment. So there was a little stretch there where I got to learn, going into the offseason what I needed to work on, and I think that was pretty big for me going into last year.
Nolan, have you had we all have like a wow, this is the big leagues moment. What was your wow, I'm in the big leagues moment for you?
It was actually the day I debuted. I think I just got my first hit. I went out to play second base, and I just kind of looked around the whole stadium, and I was like, I'm in the freaking big leagues. Like, this is kind of crazy. But yeah, it was that same day right after my first hit, and I went back out on defense. It was at PNC, which I think to this day is still one of the nicest looking stadiums and backgrounds in baseball. But yeah, that was it. Just out in the field, kind of looking around the stadium.
You didn't feel that same electricity in our Memphis Gwinnett games? You didn't get that same rush of adrenaline?
Not exactly. Not on those Tuesdays. I had adrenaline every time we played in Memphis. That's for sure. But
the humidity alone will get your blood going.
Oh yeah, for
who
sure.
Who were your first at bats off, and who was the first hit off?
First at bat was Zach Thompson, with the Pirates. He was first at bat, first hit. I remember that, and then my first home run came like 8 days later. But to be honest with you, I always blank on the name. From the Brewers.
Got the name for you, Adrian Hauser.
Yep, that's
now
it.
A Met.
Sorry about that. My phone somehow overheated while I'm in the truck. So.
Oh, there's a lot of jealous people that are cold around the country right now.
Yeah,
wish their phones overheated.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Arizona.
I will say this: that's the first time we've ever had someone. Usually, it's a phone call or someone's kid hits the red button to stop. But that's the first time we've ever had someone say my phone overheated. So, way to go! That's a big step.
I'm glad I could be a first.
Nolan, I got a question for you. So, you're locked in for second base time, right? This coming season. That's been the spot for you. How was it for a lot of the young outfielders to kind of mix and match? Like, we had Tyler O'Neill on the other day, and we're happy for him because he gets to probably get full-time reps with the Red Sox. I don't think they're adding anything else to their lineup, so he's going to basically play every day if he's healthy and on the field. So just being around some teammates that would either get platooned or just were in an all-out battle at the major league level to try and get a spot. What's that like to experience? Obviously, secondhand, to see that going on for some of the guys.
Yeah, I think that was kind of set at the beginning of spring training last year, of knowing that there's a lot of competition between the players within the organization. And yeah, I mean, it's not easy. I mean, I did it too against lefties, especially during the beginning of this past year, and then 22. I wasn't facing lefties at all. And so, it's definitely it's a tough role for anybody to be able to come off the bench. And I think having Albert in 22 was a big piece for us because he was so good. I mean, just in general, he was so good that he'd come off the bench and, take a left-handed at bat and especially in that second half, do some damage. But it's definitely it's a hard situation to be in, but I think sometimes it's just a matter of being ready no matter what's thrown at you. it's out of your control, really. So, yeah, it's not a situation anyone wants to ever be in, though, because obviously you want to go out there and play every day and help the team win.
What's the conversation like with Ollie Marmol or whoever, Mosaic, whoever it is? Like, dude, I want to play against lefties. I could hit lefties coming up. All of a sudden now I can't hit lefties. They're throwing it the same way, right? So what's the conversation like? Is it just a matter of when you – because I hit left-handed, Kip hit left-handed, and I know when I first came up, Tom Kelly's like, well, this guy can't hit lefties. I'm like, how do you know, dude? You never seen me hit a lefty. I can hit lefties okay. I mean, it wasn't the same as righties, obviously, but
right.
And then when you get the opportunity, you're like, God, I have to get it. Oh my gosh, I have to get. If I don't get a hit here, I'm never going to face a lefty again, right? So what's the conversation like, either from you to Ollie, or Ollie back to you, to try to get those opportunities?
I mean, there wasn't too much of conversation. It was just kind of like I knew that was happening just because it was happening on the regular. When we'd face a lefty, or a lefty would come in from the pen, kind of knowing like, all right, you're not going to hit here. But I would have conversations with like our hitting coach, Turner Ward, and just talk about, what the reason is, or why they are platooning guys, especially young guys who, they want to be up there being everyday guys and helping the team win. And it's just, it comes down to analytics and what, the numbers say, and who's going to give them their best shot to win, or win that at bat at least. So yeah, I guess the answer that I got was it all comes down to analytics. But towards the end of the year last year, I got to face lefties, and I mean, just like anything, you see it more times and more consistently, you're going to get better at it no matter what. So yeah, I was lucky enough last year to be able to start facing them towards the end of the year, maybe middle of the year, and had some success, I thought.
Nolan, let's
Well,
finish
don't
with
say.
the.
Oh, sorry, Scotty, go. You want me to go?
No,
I was
no,
just
all
going
you
to
do.
say a fun. Now that we got three lefties, probably a rarity on this show to have three guys who can talk about it. And first off, you didn't get lucky to face them. You earned that back later in the year. But would you find? I want AJ to comment on this too. When you go left, when you're lefty, did facing lefties lock you in for righties? Because you let the ball travel a little bit better. You kept your hands inside the ball. I would always find facing lefties, even if it wasn't the most successful at bat or something, it locked me in to face a righty. Do you find that way? What do you use when you go versus lefty and versus righty?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I think if I train too much lefty, I can get a little pull happy, just trying to get the bat out in front a little bit more, because the ball gets on you for whatever reason a little more, left on left. But I find that it definitely has helped lock me back into righties if my approach is right. If I'm, looking to drive the ball to left center field off of them, let it get a little deeper, maybe track the slider a little better. But then also this year, I kind of changed up how I face lefties when it comes to my stance. I try to match their angle, so the ball's not really coming from behind me. It's more just like a regular pitch. And that seemed to be the biggest thing. And towards the end of the year last year, I was hitting lefties really well, and so I was like, why don't I just try to open up against righties too? Just make sure I get back to center, and my approach is still always through center field. And honestly, it worked out for the time that I was doing. I think it lasted for about 2 weeks, and then I ended up getting hurt in Baltimore. But that 2-week stretch was pretty solid for me. So it's just something I've been training this offseason of being able to start a little open, and it helps me not sway back in my swing. And it's kind of just, loading into that back hip a lot better than the alternative of swaying back and then swaying forward.
Understood. As a guy who hit open, I get it. Listen, the biggest thing for me hitting lefties, like Kip said, was you got to keep your angles the same. So you adjusting to the pitch the way it's coming makes a lot of sense, because the biggest thing lefties do is, because we run to first, we obviously open up because the ball is more on that side. So you got to really just fight to keep your angles. And I agree. Like sometimes it locks you in, sometimes it messes you up. I went a whole year hit only left-handed BP from in Chicago, and I had a good year. And then the next year they're like, "Do you want to do it again?" And I was like, "No, not really." And didn't have quite as good of a year. So maybe it was a thing, but I agree. You got the biggest thing for me. I was told at not a young age, but a later age that, keep your angles, fight to keep your angles. So for me, that meant like I was like diving against lefties, right? Because I was always told, you beat a lefty to left field, right? You let it get deep. And then as I got older, I actually learned you're better off, like kind of what you said. You're better off almost getting the ball out in front and trying to hook the ball, especially those sliders, because you can catch them before they break. And that's why it would lead to what you said, pulling off the ball a little bit. So I get it. But from what I've seen, you look like you can hit righty or lefty. So just stick with it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, it's a constant battle. You guys know the daily grind of going into the field and maybe not feeling the same every single day. So it's a constant battle, but I think learning how big approach is and how big staying through the middle of the field for me, at least, helps me out. So just kind of understanding that, I think no matter who's on the mound, it's always going to, help in a little way. Hitting's hard. I'm not saying I'm going to get a hit, but at least give me a better chance.
You got you said what, 2 weeks before you go down to Florida?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
You do what's the most fun thing you've done this off season, or do you have anything planned before in these next 2 weeks before you kind of go?
Nothing planned. Let's see. I went to Monterey, California. Went and played golf, Pebble Beach, and Spyglass.
That should be your first answer right away.
That was pretty sick. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I did this off season. Really, tried to stay home more. Didn't go out too much, and playing Pebble was unbelievable. I shot terrible, but really, honestly, after every single swing I took, I didn't care where the ball went. I was literally watching the scenic view of the ocean and the waves rolling in. We got rained on, so it was one of those cool Pebble days. You see the sun, and then you see rain, and you see wind, and so I got it all that day.
I was kind of with you. I played one of my worst rounds at Pebble. The one time we had perfect weather, everything was going great, and I got like the yips on the front nine. And you build up that Pebble round to be so much that you want to play so well, and it was the worst time, and it's just still impossible not to enjoy yourself with that scenery. And that being said, I didn't go to the back nine with my own putter because it didn't make it through the front nine. So fortunately for me, Pebble sells new putters in the clubhouse, but it's a beautiful place and a gorgeous place.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's my second time going there. I played Spyglass 2 years ago. I didn't get on Pebble, and this year we were able to get onto Pebble and then play Spyglass a couple days later. So it was a cool little trip for sure.
It's usually the time when AJ's like, "Oh, my 5th time at Pebble.
I've never been to Pebble."
Michael Jordan was like, "Hey, dude, you're in my way," and Ken Griffey Jr. was like, blah, blah, blah.
"Never been to Pebble."
Wow,
never been there.
I'm shocked.
It's too far.
No, it's not.
It's too far. Dude, it's far from here.
What,
it's worth
5 hours?
it. It's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get out there eventually.
Obviously.
I'll get out there. I just haven't. I mean, every time I'm out in the Bay Area,
You're locked in on the A's.
And the A's and the Giants.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, Nolan, great to see you, man. We appreciate the time. Thanks for checking out the show, obviously, and we'll see you in Jupiter. I'm going to bring AJ with me now.
Make sure Lance takes you out to dinner a couple times in Jupiter, and make sure he takes you to play golf more than once.
All right. I'll do that. Thanks for having me, guys.